Now, angry residents of Teshi pouring out their displeasure against government for its inaction on fixing the terrible Teshi-Agbliza road have been featuring on JoyNews and Joy FM today. It may be only 7.5 kilometers, but the extent to which the road, popularly referred to as the Lekma Road, is tied to the very economy of the community, means that it affects everything and everyone. The road leads to the main referral hospital at Teshi, the Lekma Hospital, and today a team from the Super Morning Show and the AM Show pitched camp in the community to speak to the people. Let's watch this.
Well, ne shows ne ade SSA ne boy joint ne ade tutututu nti esra ban ya se panachowa o mehwe kwan ne ma hospital road nde enye kra so bi ale kra mpo no de ne ba wo bebre ansa na bedu ne nipa no bibia ye.
And the sentiment is the same. The reactions are the same. The response is the same. What he's saying is that it's the same every time that he has to access or apply the route. There are times that sometimes they want to bring people who are sick, could be pregnant women, etc., to the hospital, this very hospital, and they can't access it as quickly as possible for the emergencies.
Improvement o afinele won qualify e ba kwe na efi gbe omolu e faton kenyo mbo ne lehin no ko fi mokula
no me nimbabi and so basically I was just asking her what were the difficulties she was facing, knowing that she cooks food, especially just close by. There's a lot of dust. Many people, according to the health practitioners within the hospital we've spoken to, say that they tend to have respiratory tract infections recorded for the attendant cases or the OPD cases usually.
I'm about to go into theater, but like my administrator has said a lot, but I said, let me just add my voice to it. And it's not just even for the patient. I can take to my office right now. It's just dust all over. The keyboard of the computer, dust everywhere. And the sad thing is that sometimes the air conditioners in this hospital, you can ask Charles, every time you can go to the maternity ward right now, the labor ward, where it's so hot, we have an AC there for the women to be comfortable. It's spoiled. Go to theater, we have to, it's like every 2 weeks, you have to service it and change it because it gets clogged up. And sometimes we have to operate in the heat. And sometimes you see me coming up from the theater in my scrubs to his office because I'm sweating and I'm operating, and it's not good for everybody. Talking about the pregnant woman, you can imagine a woman coming in labor, in pain, with all sort of obstetric and gynecological complications on this road. Do you understand? Sometimes I come to the hospital twice in a day because you go home and you have to be called back.
Okay.
And I live in Councilman. It takes you a shorter time even coming to this point than even getting to the hospital. And it's been there for a long time.
You mean coming to the point where the bad road begins?
From the filling station to because you have to go slow.
Yeah.
Your car gets spoiled and nobody is going to service it for you. So you can't, and sometimes because of what is an emergency, you just have to drive through like that. I think it's high time that we sort it out. This used to be a very nice, as somebody was saying, we started it. And now you look around, you can see for yourself. Everything is brown. It's like another sort of paint that has naturally been done. So we'll be grateful if something could be done about it. And as you know, it's a major referral center for the facilities all over the place. And even the private facilities all around, from family health, everywhere, the income, they all bring their clients here. And the road is so bad that for us, for obstetrics and gynecology, time is of the essence. When you talk about emergency care, there are 3 Ds. They talk about delay in getting to the facility and all that. And this is a major D in that. The delay in getting to the facility.
My voice to what Dr. Abuasi has just said. You know, sometimes the delays come from the homes and they will come to the roadside looking for cars. You stop taxi and you say, going to Lekman, this road, I cannot, especially when it rains. The Uber drivers, the taxi drivers are refusing. Only the trotro, and you cannot put a pregnant woman or an accident victim into the trotro. You have to wait. And that delay, when they come, they don't talk about it. And we haven't done any research to establish why somebody died, and we can probably attribute it to the road. But those in their various homes can best tell. But from the analysis I've just given, it's obvious that we may have some unreported deaths due to delay in getting transport or means of transport just because of the bad nature of the road?
Sometimes I feel very sad because when we go in and then the fight for touching the N1 and the N2, you say it is our call. When we went and fight for touching, instead of coming to facing the Teshi road, then they went and faced the N1, and then the ministry wanted to recommend us. Even they asked us to recommend us that they are doing very good job, which we went and give through graphic, and we said the Ministry of Road and Highways is doing very because they asked us to do that.
Say that again. The ministry asked you to commend them.
Yes, for bringing a project or roads to like a N1, N2, and N2 and N1. Even though we are using it directly, we are not benefiting from it.
Okay.
When we asked them to do that, we'll go and do different things. Then they left the road that fall within the Teshi enclaves.
Now, Parliament has also waded into the positive action to get the LECMA roads fixed. Now, the Roads Committee has been speaking about the need for government to fix this particular road. My colleague Joseph Akable joins me in the studio with details. Joseph, good to see you again. And
it's good to be here.
Yes, it appears government wants things to move in the right direction regarding LECMA. What specifically are they saying?
And so we have a response from the minority spokesperson on the Roads and Transport Committee because we put questions to him because they work closely with the Roads Ministry. And he said a number of things. The first is that in terms of the most questions that are asked on the floor of the House mostly relates to roads. And he says it's because government, it appears government's priority road is not a major priority. Government is prioritizing other things, and so that is why obviously not too many new roads are being constructed. Neither do you have existing ones being well maintained, or do you even have the ones that had already started under the previous administration even continuing because of the failure by government to prioritize that. Then also he makes the point about the road fund, and it was used to take some loan, and that ended last year August, but still it appears not much is accruing in it to enable government undertaking their project. So we can listen to Kwame Agboja, is the minority spokesperson on roads and transport.
I want to commend you first of all for your commitment to look at issues that affect the ordinary person in the country, and indeed road infrastructure is one of the thorny issues. I'm sure you also noticed that the largest number of questions filed to a minister in Parliament is to the road minister. In fact, the Minister of Roads and Highways answers questions every Friday in Parliament simply because the volume of questions. It means that we all need roads in our areas. There's a general decay on the condition of our roads currently. The amount of money going into maintenance and new projects has dwindled significantly. In 2017, you saw the budget and what was released. 2018, it was increased a bit. 2019, it was further increased. But the real releases going to the ministry is a problem. It's making life very difficult. So the LECMA road you talked about is one of those areas within the city where we require urgent attention because it's leading to a health facility. But unfortunately, because of funding, we are not able to do that. And sometimes when I say because of funding, it's not that we don't have any money at all. But if you notice, like I've been saying, I don't understand the reason for government's decision to cap almost everything. The road fund is supposed to generate about 1.2, 1.3 billion a year. I am sure if that money is available to government, a lot can be done. Indeed, in the past, that was used as a collateral to attract a UBA loan. But that was supposed to have been paid off in August last year. So we should have been able to have 1.3 billion Ghana cedi money for a road ministry. But because of the capping act that this House passed, they are taking almost 600 million Ghana cedi out of it through capping. Even if not 600, over 400 million out of it. That 400 million is a lot of money that can do a lot. So it is a deliberate government decision not to invest in the road sector because maybe they feel that if they invest in free SHS, by the way, free SHS, 3 billion Ghana cedis is all they've done so far since they started. So it couldn't be the reason we can't invest in roads and other things. So it's a real concern. How can we address this? I believe one of the things we can do to address this is to basically find out how even the road fund is being used. And we have summoned the road ministry and the road fund to this house. We are waiting for confirmation of the date to find out how they are using part of which is statutory. That one nobody can do anything about it. As for the releases in the budget for the ministry, that one government can decide not to give them anything. But if you look at the figures coming out of the budget, which some of which will be confirmed in the media review, you will see that not much is going into road. However, I must admit that in recent times, including this week, there have been a lot more small loans coming to the house, donor funded, which are supposed to go into road. But those monies are small. We are not even aware of the status of the Sino Hydro $500 million. So
you approved that a long time ago.
Yeah, well, we approved it. I'm not aware that even $1 have been released by Sino Hydro to do any work. I'm not aware that they have released any money. Though I've said in the past that even if we have $500 million from Sino Hydro, it wouldn't solve the problem. So towards this year, it is going to be extremely difficult to claw back some of the damages we've done to our even existing road network. And the sad thing is that unless you see a significant dose from government-owned resources into the road sector, we are not going to see the problem get any better soon.
Must they go the way of loans, perhaps, because it appears that in terms of the funds that we already have and spending, that is why they are obviously going for the Sino. There's not much money available.
Well, we can't say there's not much money available. It's the way you apply it. You will notice that we are almost choking in terms of loans. By the close of this week, we would have borrowed $300 million extra, as you may be aware. By the end of next week, we would have borrowed another $100 million on other projects. So, is it possible that we can borrow perpetually? We can't. I am sure that if we do some efficiency savings, we may be able to do some certain things. The size of government, the priority areas we have set. As for instance, if you want to improve health, what you need to do is not to necessarily go and pay necessary trainee allowance, but rather give them the opportunity that when they finish school, they have jobs to do. But they have decided to do something else. So we can mobilize some money out of efficiency saving and do something. But I don't think we can borrow perpetually. For instance, the Accra-Tema motorway, you know, as part of the MPS agreement, that road was supposed to be done at no cost to the state, just as the way the port project was done. The NPP came and stopped it. So why should we have potholes on the reason we have potholes on the motorway today is because government have decided not to go ahead with that project. However, the end of the motorway, which is a Japanese grant, is going on. But the motorway itself is in a deplorable state. So I think it's government's responsibility to take up these issues and deal with them. I mean, I've seen my colleague, the MP for, the Lekma area, struggle. I mean, try to explain to his people. I'm not even sure why the people are not talking to the DCE. Why? I mean, the MP common fund is 4.5%. The person who is part of the executive is a MCE there. So I don't know why the focus is on the MP. Why are they not actually asking the DCE what is the executive doing about it? Parliament, we don't have any money to build roads. It's the executive that have money.
The criticism has been that the promises that are made prior to elections, that is a problem that comes to bite you, the politicians, again.
Well, I will be surprised if you go promising I'll build road. Indeed, when we write manifestos like 2016 manifesto, NDC put it in there that will do certain number of roads, which were mentioned even in Adaklu. If I go and sell that one and NDC is not in government, I couldn't necessarily be the reason it's not being done. And I'm sure that is for other people, but I doubt if some members of Parliament go around saying I'll build everything in your community. But we know that the resources to build things are located at specific places, and much of it is in the executive. So the MCE should be more answering to the people in terms of when their road will be done than the MP. I've seen Honorable Dr. Okoboy did everything. He's asked questions in Parliament. He's followed up with the statements and other things. And up to now, nothing is being done.
Well, you've been talking about this. It was trending #1 all morning. And of course, some of your comments have certainly caught the attention of the nation. Let's read a few of them. Now, the hashtag, of course, is Fix Lekma Now. You have been tweeting and posting on Facebook. Here's what you're saying on Facebook. Grace Aqua says, how can your people live in such conditions and you still have mouths to justify yourselves? Shame unto our leaders. Where there's no vision, the people perish. Emmanuel K. Yabwa says, I think it's about time the government and Minister of Roads take this as an emergency and get that road fixed. The health hazards are serious, especially pregnant women. Ifrifa Bunsu says the same thing here at Atunsu in Kuntenase Road in Busumchi, district of Ashanti. It is so bad. Bright Elikem says, Joy FM, you have the capacity to advise the government and Ministry of Roads to fix these roads, since one of your former employees is a cabinet minister in this administration whose leader refused to heed your call. Benjamin Godson says, hey, road be this. Hey, what a damn, I don't know what that means. Seriously, some people like me will always make sense when it's time to vote, but will be in my bed resting than to go stand in the sun to vote for someone to just come create loot and share with family and friends. Join Anti-Voters Association. Well, I wouldn't recommend that. But his point is that these politicians have got nothing to offer the Ghanaian youth. That's what he says, and that's Benjamin Godson expressing his opinion there. Frank Khlegbe says it's very pathetic. Angie Ajewa says this road must be done as soon as possible. Teshi lacks a lot of things, our water, roads and light. Adenkra. Samuel Arthur says, so why are you people lamenting? You said you want change and change has come, so enjoy it. Asante Isaac says, come to Siamanda Deso in Western North. We have been battling with dust all this time as if we're not part of this country. Our town roads have not been fixed, but no one is talking about it. Accra is not the only city. We equally deserve development. Thank you, Asante Isaac, and all the rest of you who have been sharing your thoughts.